Happy today. I am William Brown. I am WilliamBrown.com, and this is Disconnect to Connect One Word Conversations. Wow, I am kind of honored to be at this point, and I'm kind of surprised to be at this point actually. Within a few days, I will be at 50 episodes. I cannot believe we're at 50, almost 50 episodes already from our bonus episodes and our daily time. Um, we'll be at 50, and I can remember when this was just a twinkle in my eye or a crazy thought, right? Right? And now we're at 50, and I just want to thank everyone who has decided to join me within this conversation. This was a conversation that basically that I was having with myself, feeling that the words that I was using, the language that I was using, wasn't serving me. And it wasn't serving me because how it was showing up in my life wasn't the way I learned it, or it was told to me. But really being able to just share that, hey, this is, these are how these words are landing to me, and this is how I want to show up within it, has really transformed this. And so having this conversation, and these conversations have really been great for me, and I hope you enjoy them too. I really would love some feedback with in our comments or on the page, and just tell me some of the things that you like about the show or appreciate about the show. So I can continue to do that. And if there's something that you would like to see me add, we can do that too. So our word for today is, and if I hit the right button, I'll be good. The word for today is unique. And this is a fun word because it is something that we kind of know that we're unique, but sometimes it shows up in a lot of different other ways. So, as I do, I invite one of my friends to come in and we have a conversation. So, let me. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, this is the moment where I ask my guests or my friends to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable to them.
Great. Well, I'm Denise Ransome, and I have a retreat space in the Columbia River Gorge out here just outside of Portland. And the space was created to have teams come out to capture, catalyze, and take action on their best thinking.
Hmm.
And that means a lot of different things. And with how things are going right now, I am not having guests at my retreat space. So I'm falling back on how I used to introduce myself. I'm a project manager, and so I'm doing a lot of project management work with creative companies right now. But
Okay.
I'm still helping people capture, catalyze, and take action.
Right, absolutely, because you are your labels and you're not your labels, right? So you're all those things, and you can pick them up and put them down whenever needed. So,
Absolutely.
so how does the word unique land for you?
You know, it's funny when I saw that that was my word. I had a momentary, I'm not unique. How can I talk about being unique? And then, of course, we're all unique. I mean,
Right.
but we spend so much of our lives trying to fit in
Hmm.
that we forget that it's what's unique about us that makes us us.
Right.
So yeah, it was definitely a two-sided thought process going through my head with the word.
Right. I think for me, growing up, unique meant, odd, different,
Yes,
all strange, all of those things. And it's like, I don't want to be that. And, but the more that I grow into this, you know, I'm William Brown, right? There are so many William Browns out there. You know, and so it's like, how can I be unique, and have a very common name? But I've recognized that my experiences and my just how the way I see the world, and just how I just show up, that is my unique experience, and that is something that the more that I embrace, you know, I can meet and hang out with another William Brown, and not get lost, there,
Yeah.
not be compared to what the other William Brown is up to, and that uniqueness that I am now embracing is something that for a long time, I didn't want to be unique. I didn't see myself as unique. It was just, I'm tired of being odd, or being potentially seen as odd.
Yeah, it's funny because that was one of the things that came up for me as well, is that being unique meant that you were different, and different meant that you were odd
Right,
or weird,
right,
and so you tried to, those things that made you unique, tried, I spent a lot of my life trying to tamp those things down.
right,
And you get to a certain age where you're like, you know what,
right,
this is me,
right,
and this, I'm going to show up as me. And I think as we get older, we get more comfortable showing up as ourselves,
right,
and showing up truly as ourselves, and not, just the self that you think the people that you're interacting with want to see. And I think, we met at Camp GLP, and I think that was definitely one of those times where I really was able to celebrate all of the parts of me.
right,
And the permission, really, I gave myself the permission to just be, whatever was going to showing up for me.
right. I can remember, 2014, I was wound really tight. There was a lot of things that I was dealing with and not dealing with at that time. But I showed up at camp, and, seeing the, pink unicorns and tutus, and, all that, all the craziness that was there. And in my mind, it was like, I love this. This is crazy. I love this. This is great. I mean, it's like, it's just going on through my head. It's like, this is unique, but this is nuts, right? At the same time. But there was this freedom in embracing all these incredible human beings just showing up. And it was, very, very interesting um, how far removed I was from accepting not just my uniqueness, but the uniqueness of other people.
Mm.
And that's the one thing that I appreciate most about, the GLP tribe, and just that container, is that, we're all individuals. We're all just, people just trying to live their life. And the one question that is coming up for me is, why do you think it takes us getting older, or in a difficult situation, to really appreciate our uniqueness?
Gosh, that is a great question. I think it's because maybe we're not comfortable in our own skin, and it takes
Hmm.
some time to start getting comfortable in our own skin.
Wow.
I think that, we're trying to establish ourselves in our careers, and there are certain labels that go on with a certain thing that you do in life.
Right.
And so you try to fit into that mold.
Hmm.
And I think, after having some experience, but it's funny because what I was thinking about us talking about camp is, part of the thing about camp is that it was at a kids' summer camp
Right.
location.
Right.
And so when we're little, being unique is fun.
Right.
So, but then there is a point in when that being unique starts feeling not good anymore.
Right.
And
Right.
then we're coming back around to it after you get to be of a certain age,
Of a
you know.
certain distinguished age,
Yes.
right?
But it's, it's kind of like their bookends of, you're fully yourself to a, and what age, I'm trying to think of what age did I stop, um, just going full out and not caring what other people think.
Right. Yeah, sadly for me, and I think it came up in my book, Beyond the Shell, is that it was a very young age when I stopped, because I heard a lot that, the questions that I had, the curiosity that I had was not um, the concern of the people around me. And they were
Mm,
concerned that's what I was curious about. That's what I was having questions about. So me learning or trying to figure out, how I was going to show up in the world was was difficult
yeah.
because there were so many people telling me that, dude, your curiosity is crazy, or or this. And so I saw myself as odd and somewhere else, so I just stopped that behavior, and I went a long time just trying to live up and to get along and to be accepted and belong to something, until that didn't work anymore.
And is it that we're at a time in the world that being unique is okay again, or is it that I'm at a certain age where I'm okay being unique? Because I feel
Yeah.
like there's so many um, solopreneurs. There's so many people that are marching out on their own.
Right.
Is it a trend right now where people it is more normal to be unique?
Right. This is what I think, because even when I saw this with a couple of my kids. I'll just say a couple, just to kind of hide kids, that trying to be unique, but at the same time looking like everybody else, or being like everybody else, and it's like, what's that all about, right? And it's like, I'm going to be myself with others, with the other people that are being themselves. And so I'm starting to look like them. So I'm no longer unique within that. And so I still believe, and because this has been my struggle in the entrepreneurial space, of trying to honor what it means to be an entrepreneur, and doing everything that needs to be done to be successful in that, but at the same time figuring out, how is this my business? How is, what am I contributing to this? How is my experience? And the more that I bring myself into this business, into this entrepreneurial label experience, then that is unique. There's a lot of coaches out there, and I call myself a business life coach. And people are like, "Are you a business coach or a life coach?" And it's like, you know what? I have business conversations with a listening for your life. And it was like, I've never thought of it that way. That's, so that is unique. But I've spoken to a lot of coaches that's like, hey, I do the same thing, but I just never labeled that that way. And now I have just given them, I guess, my marketing edge, right? And so a lot of other people will be doing that. But however, I think, even as a business life coach, how I see the world, or how I approach my coaching, is totally different, um, than a lot of other people. And the more that I embrace that, instead of this formula or prescription of how a coach should be, and kind of give value to his coachees, then I can still be unique in that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a really great point, that when you do start a business, you do spend a lot of time coming up with your unique selling proposition. You know,
Right.
what is that thing that you do differently than your competition? And maybe that's part of my ability to embrace that uniqueness, is that I know that the value of my business, it's important for there to be something unique about it.
Right. And the main unique thing is you. It's you're doing it,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. How we show up, it's a retreat space for team offsites, and there are people do it in hotels, people do it, in Airbnbs, so why come to my space? And for me, it's because I have, many, many years of being a project manager. So my space is built so that people can come and actually get something accomplished.
Right.
And, that is a unique space. And it's also this place that you come to get work done, but it's surrounded by the forest and the
Right.
trees. And, so there's different things that, about it that make it unique. And, you know, and it's unique because I built it.
Right. And
You didn't build it, I built it.
right. And I this is what's coming up for me. Even all of those things that are important, that are wonderful about your experience, the most important thing is that the reason why you would come to this retreat center is because Denise is here. That's it. because because you show up fully in this expression, in this business, and nobody else, no matter what their name is doing it this way. And I think really embracing the enoughness of us, and I think, and
Oof.
sometimes, I fall into this trying to add all the other qualifiers. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been successful at this and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but what's enough is that I'm here. That I
Wow,
showed up
that's
for
powerful.
this, and just and that's what really embracing our uniqueness is all about. And sometimes I find myself devaluing just being me, you
Mm.
know, and yeah, and I'm working through that, and that's the conversation that I have in my books, and my writing and my coaching, and the reason why for me is that I want to stay in that conversation. Me having that conversation with other people reminds me to be me,
Mm.
you know and it's like when I stop that conversation, or when I try to do other things because I can, right? I then try to show up as everybody else. I try to show up as the tech professional that kind of knows this kind of thing. But the more that I'm just me, and give myself permission to be me, and then invite people to show up as themselves,
Mhm.
then that's when I guess the magic happens, as I say, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think, I part of my introduction, my retreat space is called Peach Cheesecake Ranch, which I didn't say. Just the name itself as a business retreat space is like, what?
What? You got
So,
peaches there?
and I don't have peaches, unfortunately. We did. It's funny you should say that, because we did plant some fruit trees, but they just, where we are, where it's too wet to grow
Right,
peaches.
right,
So I can get peaches in Hood River, which is about 45 minutes away. So they're still semi-local,
right.
um, the peaches that I get. But yeah, so I think that I think you're absolutely right about the enoughness.
Hmm.
And does it take you feeling like you're enough
Yeah.
to actually start embracing your uniqueness?
Yeah.
Is it that you are striving to feel, like I said before, comfortable in your own skin? And is that
Right.
part of that being enough?
Right.
Because I think we all struggle with, am I enough? Am I worthy? Am I, all of those things that part of demonstrating that you're worthy is by being valued by other people. So then by being valued by other people, do you start trying to act a certain way so those people will value you? So does
Right.
does that disconnect happen? And then
Right.
just one day you're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm
Right. Right. Right.
I
Right.
can't,
Because
it's too difficult.
right, it collapses on itself. I mean, it's like it's that staying power, you know? It is that okay, they like me now, will they like me later, right? And I think for me, what I'm embracing and taking on for myself is that do I like myself today?
Mm.
And will I like myself tomorrow, right? Will I continue, and all the other people, then it's just an extension, it's a gift. I think the more that I love myself and appreciate myself and own my skin, in some cases, I don't understand comfortable in my own skin, that kind of wording, but I do. It's like I do and I don't. It's like all right, I'm comfortable, but I'm not, right? But it is the more that I just say that I'm happy where I am. However, I know that there is more um, of of me that I will be happy with, too,
Yeah.
that I will continue. And I think too often when we leave that to other people, when we give that power away to other people to justify our worthiness or our acceptance into the tribe or anything like that, then we start performing. Then we start doing
Ooh.
all those things that has nothing to do with our uniqueness, but their acceptance. And like I said, that runs its course. It's its
Well,
course.
yeah, you just said performance, and that, it's like we are putting on a performance
Hmm.
of the person that someone is expecting me to
Right.
be.
Right.
And um, it's funny, I was looking up the actual dictionary definition of uniqueness or unique.
Hmm.
And the second definition is belonging or connected to one particular
Your audio just went away for some reason.
person.
Okay. Yeah, you're muted. Okay, you're unmuted now.
Okay. I think my headphones just died.
Oh, okay. Technology, right?
So did you hear?
Okay, let's maybe if you could just I don't know if you can take your headphones off because I'm missing every other word.
Headphones are.
Technology. Now you're muted, and
Okay.
now you're unmuted.
Yeah, my headphones are dying, but they're trying to keep reconnecting. So I
Uh,
disconnected them officially, so they
okay,
won't try to connect again.
wonderful.
Anyway, technical fun.
Yeah.
What I was saying there, the definition is belonging or connected to one particular person, group, or place.
Okay.
And it's funny that what we were talking about is being unique. I found that uniqueness by going, or celebrated it for the first time in a really, in a long life, really, when I was at camp, where I felt like I was connected to a group that I could identify with.
Wow. Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's you know what, and I can feel the same thing because there was a point before camp that I felt alone, right?
Mm.
And then I was connected. I belonged to at camp, right? I belonged to a group of unique, crazy people, and it's like, hey, there's other people that are just as crazy or unique or whatever, or trying to live their authentic life also. So now I'm not alone. I mean, that's the third book in this series of Beyond the Shell. Is that it's called, the working title is um, Finding Unicorns.
Mm.
And so it is, through Will's journey, it is, he's kind of, being himself, and then, and then told not to be himself, be what other people want him to be. And then, the end of the second book, he's like, okay, I'm just going to live my life. And then he runs into the third book, unicorns. And basically, he runs into a group of people, animals, living their life, being themselves, and that's exactly what you were speaking to. I found my uniqueness, or I appreciated my uniqueness because of who I belong. That there's other people attempting to be unique or striving to embrace their uniqueness also, and it's for me, um, there was no one that looked the same, right? It's like there's no, you every turn there was there was another, beautiful soul trying to, just kind of showing up that you just wanted to, that you would bump into or have a conversation with, and I think really, that was something that I just felt and didn't realize until you just shared that in the definition, because I didn't look up the definition, right?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting, because belonging is so it's so important to me, is to have this sense of belonging. And um, I think that if you feel completely alone all the time,
Hmm.
I've spent a lot of my life trying to not be alone because I don't
Hmm.
like to be alone.
Right.
Hence creating a retreat space. So
Right.
people here. Um, but it's okay to be alone if you still feel, for me, it's okay for me to be alone if I still feel like I belong somewhere.
Right.
But
Right.
if I don't feel like I belong somewhere, then alone is just lonely.
Right. Absolutely. No, I totally get that. I mean, how my journey of self discovery is, I'm on this journey alone with others.
Mhm.
And I share where I am on this journey, and the others kind of, cheer me on, celebrate, just kind of ignore. People do what they do, but but the more that I recognize that there's a large part of my discovery or my understanding of self, it happens by myself. And but the more that I gain of that awareness, the more that I can get connected or belong to, the things in my relationship with people around me. So yeah, so belonging is a part of our uniqueness. I mean, the more that we embrace our uniqueness, the more that we'll belong. Wow, I would have never.
Yeah,
It's like, wow, But too often we want to conform, and then we don't feel like we belong because
exactly.
we've conformed to something, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. I think the other flip side of that is that belonging is important, but also being seen.
Right,
you know, and I
Mm.
think that um, when you don't feel seen, then you start to shrink back,
Right.
and sometimes that might be some of those places where you kind of shield your uniqueness, because is that what's keeping me from being seen, because I'm too crazy, I'm too wild, I'm too much.
Right. Mm. Yeah. Too often we well, I'll speak for myself. I have muted myself,
Mhm.
because the fear of being too much, the you know the fear of saying too much, being too loud, being shining too brightly, cause bringing attention to yourself, right? We want to be seen, but not give attention to ourselves, because that was you're bragging, or you're kind of whatever people say. But at the same time, if there is if other people don't aware or is not aware of us, and I think that's what's going on with social media. I
Mm.
I don't know. It's like our desire to be seen um, has kind of taken on an unhealthy acting out, because it's like I put up a post, I have a comment or something. If I don't get enough likes or loves or anything like that, I might say something more outrageous, or something
Mm.
to get noticed or to see. And it's just like, dude, I see you. All right, just gonna say, I think an emoji that Facebook should have is just eyeballs.
Yeah.
I see you. All right. I don't like what you're doing. I don't love what you're doing, but I see you. All right. Back off. Back it down. Oh, maybe I'll start using those emojis. See how that goes over. But
Yeah.
right. It is like what happens when we're not seen. One of our, I can't remember her name, but she did a workshop at camp one year, and she said that we either talk things out or we act things out.
Mm.
And I think too often in our desire to be seen, we're acting out. We're kind of like really in people's face, and then we are just put into the same category as everybody else. Okay, you're along with the other, people that are acting out, all that kind of stuff. And so I don't see you.
A category.
Right. I don't see you anymore because you're doing that. But the more that we use our words and talk things out, the more that we have ability to be seen and heard, which are the two important things that I think we were designed for.
Yeah.
We're here for a reason, and the reason is our relationship to others. And too often we use our words to disconnect from each other more than to connect with each other.
Mm.
And yeah, within our uniqueness. I don't know. It feels like you had something was coming up for you.
Well, I think that it goes back to kind of what we were talking about as kids, you know, and this day and age that we're in now, kids were, seen but not heard.
Right.
I was told to sit quietly at the table, not to have a conversation during dinner. Dinner was time for adults to have conversations, and
Hmm.
so there's some what's I can't even think of, but it's bred into us. It's
Right.
taught into us,
Right.
and I think what we're seeing now with kids that are growing up, maybe because we are the ones that are having kids, we want our kids to be heard. And so I
Right.
think a lot of kids are given more permission to be themselves at an earlier age.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's just my interpretation,
Right.
um,
I
but
think there's an awareness of that is the need.
yeah, and I think that is, back to what I asked before, are we in an age now where people really showing up truly as themselves is more acceptable than
Right.
20 years ago? Or is it
Hmm.
just that it's me in this time, and so that's my perception?
Right. I do think that there's a different awareness of self, and I think that's why I'm having the conversation that I'm having around self discovery. That self is not just selfish,
Mm.
because I think when I was growing up, any conversation about self was selfish. Period. It's like it wasn't nuanced. It was anything like that. Oh, everything got to be about you. It's like, no, I'm just trying to understand, right? I'm just trying to get it. And I think now that we are are recognizing that in order for you to have self care, right, you have to know yourself, right? And so there is a lot of self care, self love, self, discover. There's a lot of self awareness that is needed for us to show up in a very noisy and busy world. And I think because of technology, um, and and information, that the only way that we are truly, and maybe this is something that I'm saying, but the only way that we are truly show up in this world is to be ourselves. I mean, that's our only chance, because there is just so many, there's so much going on that it's like people are not going to see you. You're not even going to see yourself if you're not yourself. And I think that's what, I think that's what you're feeling. That's what I'm feeling. Maybe that's why this is the conversation that now I'm leaning into, about just being yourself. Just live your life. And it's like, it'll I don't say it'll all work out in the wash, or what, I don't know, but I I am feeling now that being someone else, or comparing your life to someone else's, that has run its course. That's, I have the T-shirt. It's done. It's over. I don't need to continue to do that. And so the more that we embrace our uniqueness, the more that we see ourselves in our situations and in our relationships and in our work, the more that, well, we can show up uniquely.
Yeah, and I think that for me, anyway, building my business, um, it's it's less scary to make my business unique than to
Hmm.
make myself unique. But
Well,
in the process of that, then because my business is me,
right,
then I'm talking about what's unique about me.
right,
So, but there was safety in that ability to, because I'm, like when you're out there touting about things, it feels like bragging. But
right,
when I'm talking about building my business, it doesn't feel like bragging because
right,
it's my business. So,
right.
but my business is me. So yeah, it's a weird thing to get my
Right.
head on.
Look, I went to IamWilliamBrown.com. So it's like I had to, in order for me to show up, and in some cases I have a problem with showing up, because I don't want the show to be a performance type of thing. Just kind of be present, right? But in order for me to show up, I had to take on William Brown. I met you as Bill Brown, and I created Bill because that was my way of separating from an absent father who was Willie, and I was called Willie and all that other kind of stuff, and I had no connection to him, right? So I wanted to create an identity for myself, even though my given name was William, right? I felt at a young age that okay, William is a grown up's name, and I'm not grown up yet, so I'll just take Bill, and Bill could be fun and all that other kind of stuff. Um, and so I created Bill, but I had to get to William to
Mm,
embrace William so I can be in my business. So I could show up in my coaching, in my writing, in my speaking. I had to for me, I had to own as I said before, that curious kid that was, that's underneath all this that people kind of said you're kind of crazy and you're kind of odd and all that other kind of stuff. I had to embrace all of that so I could show up in my work. And so, however we do it, we have to do it, right?
yeah.
And I had to do it with my name. Like I said, a very common name. You could probably, if you look in a phone book, there are pages of Bill Brown's or William Brown's, type of thing. Um, but I know there's only one William Brown. That's me. And so the more that I embrace that and the unique part of William Brown, then I can and show up fully, and just do what I'm called to do, and live my life.
So I guess a follow-up question, just to make you put a point on it. So you, when you embrace William Brown,
Right.
you feel more yourself.
Yes, it's because I embrace all the names. Like, I am my label and I'm not my label. So I will um, accept Willie. I will also answer to Bill, but I prefer William.
Mhm.
So within William, all of those names exist.
Right.
And all of those are a part of me. And the more that I embrace all of those, that's the uniqueness that makes William everything that William is. And that's
It's the container that holds
right.
all of those things.
That
Yeah.
holds that holds them all. And I think because of that, that was assigned to myself to embrace the uniqueness of me instead of just this creation. Like I said, Bill. I don't want anybody to think that oh, he doesn't like Bill anymore. Bill's cool. Bill's great. Bill's a nice guy. I created him, right? you know. But I also I needed to embrace William, so I can show up fully as myself.
That's cool. I like that.
So I'm sure we could talk about this for hours, but I'm sure there are other things that have your attention for the day. Is there anything that you would want to leave us with, or within this conversation, a takeaway that you got for yourself?
Um, I think, well, the takeaway is that it took me a long time to feel okay being unique.
Hmm.
Um, and I hope that, it doesn't take the rest of everyone out there to be in their 50s before they feel comfortable in their own skin to be unique.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, and I think that one of my motto is everything can be done with ease and grace.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's not easy to be yourself
Hmm.
because
Got it.
you've been told it hasn't been easy. So I think just, but it is easy. It's because the truest form of yourself should be the easiest thing to do.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just gonna keep being Denise.
Keep being Denise, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you again for being on the show today. I've said when I put this together, I recognize that I have um, a lot of amazing friends that are on the West Coast that like me to get up so early in the morning to be on the show, and you are one of the people that I honor our friendship and appreciate of you being here. I'm going to put you back in the green room for a moment so we can say our goodbyes from there, and then I'll close the show.
Thanks for
Okay.
having me.
All right. Wonderful. Wow, unique. So, how is unique showing up for you? Um, I think the one thing that I got, that the more that we're unique, the more that we tap into our belonging, that we become connected to each other. And I'm really going to like explore that for myself, because too often there is this feeling, or there is this thing to conform, to be like everyone else. But the more that you are yourself, the more that you're yourself, the more that you are connected, um, and you have a sense of belonging. How's that landing for you? That's something that it really resonates on a level that I really didn't think it would, um, and and so I am so glad that we had this conversation. So, as I do, I want you to recognize and appreciate that the world wants you, the world needs you, and the world is waiting for you. So, go be your unique self. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com, and I'll see you tomorrow.